Hello and welcome to the farm and welcome to my 1902 farmhouse craft room. My name is Alicia with Country Mama Musings, and today we're going to be working on block 49 of our Heirloom Afghan crochet along, the Lacy wave stitch. This is an odd one, so pay attention, get your supplies, and let's get started. We're going to be using our size H crochet hook and whatever color you've determined to be color A. For me, that is white. We're going to start with a slip knot, placing that onto our hook, and we're going to chain 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 25, 26, and 27. Let's move on to row 1. For row 1, we're going to double crochet in the 8th chain from our hook. So not counting the loop on our hook, counting over 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to double crochet right here into this chain. And then we're also going to double crochet in the next chain right here. We're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. We're going to skip the next 2 chains. So skip this chain here, skip this chain here. This is the next chain that we're going to work in. And we're going to single crochet in this chain and the next 4 chains, so 5 chains total. So here's 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to skip the next 2 chains, so skip 1, skip 2, and we're going to double crochet in the next 2 chains. So here's this one that we've determined we're going to work in next. So here's 1 double crochet. We're going to place a double crochet in the very next chain right there. So we have 2 double crochets side by side. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and we're going to single crochet in the next 5 chains again. So here we go. Here's 1, and this should take us to the end of our chain. 2, 3, 4, and right here, don't forget this very last one. There is our 5 single crochet. So I'm going to remove my hook and let's take a look at row 1. For the first time, our row does not look symmetrical at all. And I think that has to do with the fact that this is going to be something that is going to be lacy and wavy, as per the name of this stitch, the Lacy wave stitch. So here, these 5 single crochet, they look symmetrical. And here, these groupings here, they look symmetrical, but we're off kilter. So it'll be interesting to see how this comes together. Let's move on to row 2. We're going to chain 5 and turn 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and turn our work. We're going to place a double crochet in the very same stitch that we worked these chain 5 up from. So don't skip over. You want this very first stitch right here. We're going to place a double crochet. We're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next single crochet and place a double crochet in the one after that. And we're going to do this twice. So there's our double crochet the first time. Chain 1, skip a single crochet and place a double crochet in the next stitch. That's our second time. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to place a double crochet in the next chain 2 space, which is right here. So we're going to place a double crochet here in this chain 2 space. And now we're going to place 5 double crochet in the next chain 2 space. So we're going to skip over these double crochet here and we're going to go to this space here and we're going to place 5 double crochet. Here's 1, 2, another noisy truck, it's busy here today, 3, 4, and right here is 5. It just barely fits 5 in that chain 2 space. Push your work aside because you're going to need to access the first single crochet here. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to double crochet in the first single crochet. So I moved that aside. This is actually something that one of our viewers was questioning the other day, and even though this isn't the best example, we'll get started here. They said they have a hard time determining where their next stitch goes after creating a shell. So a lot of times that shell will really push your next stitch really tight and you can't always locate it. So even though this isn't the best representation, I'm waiting for one of them to come along where we can show that. But let's pretend this was a stitch. You saw it completely just kind of pushed this stitch closed. We've moved it aside. We want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our 5th single crochet from that last row. We're going to place a double crochet there in that stitch. Sometimes you have to move your work over to find it. Now again, if this would have been inside a single stitch, it would have crushed everything together. That's something we're going to discuss later if I get one of these blocks that gives a great example of how to determine where your next stitch goes. But I didn't want to think I forgot her. I didn't forget her. I just haven't got the right representation yet to show her. However, push those aside, locate your next stitch, and then move on. We're going to chain 1, skip the next single crochet and place a double crochet in the one after that. We're going to do that twice. So chain 1, skip the next single crochet, placing a double crochet in the next one after that. There's 2. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to double crochet in the next chain 2 space right here. Here's just 1 double crochet out there all by itself. And now we're going to 5 double crochet right here in this last space, this loop that we created before. So placing 5 double crochet here at the very end of our row. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to set my hook down. And let's take a look after row 2 here. This is not symmetrical like what we like to talk about before, having things kind of match up on either side, because this is going to be a lacy wave stitch. Things are just all over the place, but it will start coming together once we get a few rows put in place. So you can see we've got our shell here and a shell here. They kind of lean this way. I suspect that as we go, they're going to start teetering back and forth. We're going to have all of these unique spaces to work in. So let's continue on and move to row 3 and see how things start developing. Hey, are you enjoying putting together all of the beautiful heirloom sampler blocks for our heirloom Afghan crochet along? If so, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, check out the playlist that has all of the videos for every block for our crochet along, and be sure to share the video with your friends that like to crochet. Okay, let's get back to our project for this week. So moving on to row 3, we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to turn our work. Now, just like before, we're going to double crochet in the same stitch that we worked up from. So right here, this last little stitch right here, place a double crochet in there so you've got double duty going there. We're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next stitch and place a double crochet in the one after that. We're going to do that twice. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, place a double crochet in the one after that. There's 2. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to double crochet in the next chain 1 space. Right here. Don't go here. This is not a chain 1 space. Remember, these worked from one to the next without any chain in between. Here's our chain 1 space. We're going to place a double crochet in this chain 1 space. And now we're going to skip the next 2 chain 1 spaces. We're going to skip this one. We're going to skip this one. We're going to go over here to this chain 2 space. If you remember, after we did the 5 double crochet, we chained 2. We're going to go to this chain 2 space right here. And we're going to place 5 double crochet in that chain 2 space. 5, it needs that chain 2 space in order to fit all 5. We discussed that earlier in row 2. It just fits it. So there's 3, 4, and 5. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we want to place a double crochet in the very next stitch. This again is where we have this example of this shell really crowding. You really don't see where the next stitch is. It's kind of covered right here. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. We moved this out of the way. Here's 5. We want to double crochet right there. We're going to repeat what we did over here. We're going to chain 1, skip 1, placing a double crochet in the next. We're going to chain 1, skip 1, placing a double crochet in the next. We're going to chain 1. We're going to double crochet in the next chain 1 space right here. There we go. And now we're going to skip over this chain 1 space, skip over this chain 1 space, and we're going to go to this loop here at the end, and we're going to place 5 double crochet. So here's 1. It's a little bit of a stretch. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let me remove my hook here and let's take a look at how we're looking after our 3rd row. So you can see now that we've got these little shells that are starting to go back and forth. This is the Lacy wave stitch. It's going to create some wavy patterns as it goes. Plus we have all of these little holes, these little gaps, these chain 1 and chain 2 spaces that are going to create a lacy appearance to our block. Let's continue on. What we want to do now is we're going to repeat row 3, just row 3, until our work reaches approximately 7 inches square. Let's work one more row though of row 3 together, just because it is a little bit tricky. I want to make sure you have it before I leave you to work it on your own. So for row 3 again, we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to turn our work. We're going to double crochet right there in that very first stitch, just like what we did before. So there's a double crochet. We're going to chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. We're going to do that twice. So here's chain 1, skip a stitch, go to the next one and place a double crochet. I'm going to do that twice. So chain 1, skip 1, place a double crochet right there. Perfect. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to double crochet in the next chain 1 space right here. Here's our double crochet. We're going to skip the next 2 chain 1 spaces. Skip this space, skip this space. We're going to place 5 double crochet right here in this chain 2 space. So we're reaching all the way across and creating this shell or this fan with 5 double crochet. There's 3, 4, and 5. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we want to place a double crochet in the next double crochet. Well, it's covered. Remember that? It's covered. 1, 2, 3, 4, counting backwards. Move this aside and then you can find 5. We're going to place a double crochet right there. We're going to chain 1, skip 1, double crochet 2 times. We're going to do it just like what we did over here. So we're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, place a double crochet in the next. One more time, chain 1, skip a stitch, go to the next stitch, and complete a double crochet right there. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to double crochet in the next chain 1 space right here. Here's our next double crochet. Now we're going to skip this chain 1 space, we're going to skip this chain 1 space, and we're going to place 5 double crochet in the very last space, all the way over here. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now you can really start to see the fans, the little shells going back and forth. And you're going to have them on the ends as well, but you'll really see it here in the center. So repeat that row 3. I'm going to meet up with you at about halfway through. We'll see how the block is looking. I'll catch up with you there. And 5. I'm here at the end of another repeat of row 3. Let me set my hook down here and let's take a look and see how things are going. I'm a little bit more than halfway done actually. It actually comes together fairly quickly once you get the rhythm down of where all of your stitches go. But again, you can see we've got just little groupings here of what appear to be almost like a partial fan, and you've got them on this end as well. And then here in the middle, you've got your fans kind of going back and forth in a lacy wave stitch pattern. Okay, so just a couple more, I think. Let's take a look and see how we're doing here as far as how wide we are. It's about 6.5 inches, but I suspect once we get our edging on, it's going to pull it a little bit more. And so we'll be very close to 7 once we start our edging. And then let's look at it this way. We're at not quite 5 inches, so I imagine I'm going to have to do a couple more rows. I'll get a couple more rows on, and then I will meet back up with you, finishing up the last of our grouping of 5 double crochet here. I did 2 more rows of row 3, 4 and 5. I've repeated row 3 more times. I did 2 and I thought I was set at 2, but then I realized I just needed 1 more. So let's see how things are looking here with my square. We want it to be approximately 7 inches across, and we're very close there. I think once we get our edging on, we're going to be very close to 7 inches. And then let's look from top to bottom here. If we look at the top of our peak here, it's about 6.5. I think when it stretches, it's going to be very close to 7. I think I'm going to be happy with the size of this block. Let's do our trusty fold over and see where we're at with our fold over. If we create a diagonal, folding one corner to the other and folding it across, and you can see it does create a triangle. So I'm pretty confident with what we've got here. So this is color A. Color A is traditionally the color you're going to use to be joining all of your blocks with. So you're going to be doing both rounds of the edging with this color A. So complete round 1 and then complete round 2. And once you're done getting your edging on this beautiful block, there's only one thing left to do, and that's get yourself a tag. Go ahead and mark this as week number 49, the Lacy Wave Stitch in color A, and place that onto your block and set that aside with your other blocks, and it'll be ready to add to your Afghan when we put everything together. Well, thank you so much for joining me here on the farm today. I look forward to seeing you next week when we complete block number 50, the Picot Stitch. Until then, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.